And I think the focus of the group, the defensive effort stands out. It's not easy when you don't get to play maybe the last couple games or the last game, and you got a lot of time in between games. So I think the guys had a lot of built up, just readiness, I guess, whatever word you want to use. But good win for us. Now we just got to be humble in victory, get ready for the second game, take the same focus into game 2.
How impressed were you by the team's focus and the way that they were able to set the tone quickly and sustain, not just early, but throughout the game?
Yeah, no, I mean, it obviously stands out. I think to sustain it for basically, the entire game, have very few, if any, let-ups. It speaks to kind of, I think, the hunger of the group, the character of the group.
Obviously, Giannis is at the forefront of that. Just what I mean for him to have, another big game and just kind of prove it in the playoffs and, just kind of take that next step.
I mean, it's what we've been seeing from Giannis all year. So, I think he's prepared himself. He's ready, and he expects a lot of himself, and he delivers a lot of times.
Nico didn't shoot well from deep, but he played 15 minutes. What did you see in his return after missing 11 games?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, that you mentioned, he got 15 minutes. I think obviously probably didn't have it mapped out for him to get quite that many, but I think his conditioning's in a pretty decent place because he's been able to do a lot with his lower body. And I think just for him to knock off the rust, for him to, see a couple baskets go in, keep shooting it, he's going to be a big part of what we do going forward.
It seems like Giannis clunked his head pretty good on that early foul from Thon. Do you expect him to undergo any further testing on his head after that?
No, not that I'm aware of.
I think we've spoke a lot about the balance of the offense through the year, and there was certainly a stage today. I think you're up by 25 points or something in the second quarter, and Chris and Bledsoe had only had 5 shots between them. In terms of the offense today, what did you like about it, and do you see even more room for improvement when you look at those two guys?
Well, we've talked all year about just taking what the defense gives you, and every night it can be somebody different. Every half it can be somebody different. I think it's a huge positive for us that, we can score at the rate we're scoring, and, Chris may have a quiet half or Bled may have a quiet half, and there's always areas to improve. We can get better offensively, but, I love it when I see a box score, when lots of guys are participating, lots of guys are, having good games, and we're not totally dependent on just, those top 3 guys, top 4, top 5 guys. So we're getting it from a lot of different places.
Bud, what's your view of the Drummond foul on Giannis that got him ejected?
I actually didn't see any of the replays. It seemed pretty obvious in the heat of the moment that it was a flagrant one, and he gave him a good push. It's part of the playoffs. It didn't seem like anything. Besides, it's obviously a flagrant, but it's part of the game.
Coach, another nice contribution from George Hill off the bench. How nice is it to know that you can just trot him out there and you always know you're going to get a positive performance from him?
Yeah, I think his aggressiveness offensively has become more consistent, more steady. He's such a great teammate. Sometimes he defers. He wants other people to do things, but he and I have had a couple good conversations. He's at his best. Whatever team he plays on is at their best when he's aggressive, and I think he's feeling that and sensing that and taking advantage of his opportunities. And I thought he was a big part of that first half, a big part of us sustaining our kind of pressure on both ends of the court. It's great when you can come off the bench with a guy like George Hill.
Coach, seeing 3 road teams lose yesterday, and even the Celtics were down at halftime today, is that something you look at all, and is that anything you communicate to the team just to work on that focus that it is the playoffs and everybody plays at a higher intensity level?
We didn't talk about it, but I mean, we all have phones and TVs and all the other devices, so I'm sure the players saw it. I'm sure the coaches, I saw it. It's something that you take notice of, and it's just a reminder that, the regular season's done, seedings and home court at the end of the day can be meaningless. And so you have to bring the focus that our guys brought, whether they watched it or they even know or it had any impact, I have no idea.
But with all due respect to the other Pistons, When Blake Griffin is available and on his game, what changes for them?
Well, he's such a focal point of their offense. He does so many things for them with the ball. He's a very unique big, and that he can be the ball handler in pick and rolls. They can have big guys coming and setting screens for him in pick and rolls. They have small guys coming and setting screens for him in pick and roll. Then he can just play one-on-one from the post. He's a significantly improved three-point shooter, so he's got a great pump fake and go game from the three-point line. He's Blake Griffin. He's a dynamic offensive player, scorer, athlete. He's good, so he makes a big difference.
You mentioned earlier just the need to stay humble over these next couple games and get ready for game 2. How do you foster that humility and kind of instill that over the next couple days?
Well, we'll look at the film. I always believe film sessions are the best place. It's where you can see where you need to improve and get better, see areas where they got some things done today, and can we get better, and know that Blake Griffin may or may not play. It doesn't matter. We have to have the respect. We have to have the humility over the next couple days and going into game 2.
I know the defense is always what you're concerned about. Just what do you think of Brook at the rim tonight? It seemed like he really gave Drummond a tough time.
Yeah, no, I thought his activity was good, his reads and, kind of making decisions. And whether it's, contesting a guard, shooting the floaters and as they get closer and closer to the basket, or the dump offs to Drummond and then going back and contesting him. Brooks just got a really good natural knack and feel for that. And, I thought he was very good.
Pistons made a defensive adjustment and put Drummond on Giannis for a little bit there. Did you see that was effective with Drummond's mobility and strength being able to stay with him?
Like you said, I think it was a fairly short stretch, and a lot of teams have put their 5s on Giannis during the year. So whether it's Drummond or Gobert or different guys, he's seen it. I think he's got a great plan of attack. We'll continue to just take what the defense gives us, and Giannis will do the same thing wherever those opportunities are, whether it's a 5 or a 4 or a small guard in him. Great, thank you guys.